Yo, welcome to a new video. This is the series where I read a chapter of a new book every single day, and then I come and tell you guys exactly what I've learned so that you guys don't have to do the reading yourself. So, as you already know, the book I'm reading is called The Untethered Soul, and essentially it's a book about not getting drawn into, the everyday things that happen in life, your thoughts, your emotions, really being aware of your consciousness, taking a deep seat within yourself, just to get that freedom from the hustle and bustle of the world, right? And if I'm honest, like it's not really a kind of book that I normally read. I think it's a bit, it's a spirituality kind of book, so it's not something I normally read. Normally, I read a book where I'm able to learn something more tangible, like for example, how to manage my wealth better or learn a skill. But I guess this is a skill. It's kind of outside my comfort zone, really taking a step back. And it's definitely, I've learned things that I can apply in real life. But today, what we're going to get into is the heart. So this chapter is about the heart. Yeah, like it opened up my way of seeing things, on a spiritual level. I've never been a really spiritual person, but this kind of gave me a different perspective. But basically, similar to the video that I posted previously, um, it basically talks about you are not your emotions, right? You're not your heart. The emotions that you feel, you're the experience of your heart. And the fact that you can experience it from an objective standpoint means, you're aware of it. So you are not your heart, you're just experiencing it. And it talks about your heart being an energy center. And you can choose whether you want to open it up or close it. So the amount of energy that flows through you, that kind of life energy, it's all your choice. It depends on what you want to hold on to, right? And he gave a good analogy. He was like, let's say your girlfriend or your ex breaks up with you. A lot of people, they get depressed. They won't leave their room. The only time they'll leave their room is if they're ordering pizza in, and they can't be bothered to shower or anything like that. They can't be bothered to do anything productive. But maybe 2 months down the line, as soon as they get a ring back, and it's like, hey, leaving you was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Let's get back together. All of a sudden, they've got energy again. They're cleaning their room. They're happy, and they're ready to go. They're full of life again. And it's not a thing of calories. They slept more. How did they go from being so depleted to having so much energy? Basically, he says the reason for that is they let their heart open up, right, to let energy flow through them. And what was happening in those 2 months was they had their heart closed up and no energy was flowing through them. So that's what caused the depression. And basically, he talks about all these little things that happen in your life that you hold on to, like negative energy, things that make you feel bad. They cause like blockages in your heart. And when you have so much blockages, the more blockages you have, the bigger they are, the more longer you hold on to them, the less energy that flows through your heart. He talks about chakra. The only time I've ever heard chakra is when I'm, watching anime, but I found it interesting, which actually does make a lot of sense. When you hold on to negativity, bad thoughts, bad emotions, it does kind of weigh on your heart, and it's harder to kind of, experience life in the present because you're just holding on to bitterness, right? But it also goes the other way, like, for positive stuff as well. Um, when you experience positive stuff and you hold on to it, that causes blockages as well. So you just want to let life pass through you, if that makes sense. That's what the author's saying. We can get onto my thoughts towards the end. But basically what his whole point was, your heart as an energy center, it gets blocked by unfinished experiences, right? Whether that's good or bad. So when you're open, life passes through and you can experience it happily with more energy. And a lot of the time as well, when you experience something, let's say you're holding on to something from 10 years ago, right? And you experience something in real life and it's a trigger that reminds you of that. I think they're called you mentioned they're called samskaras. So these are like little things that you hold on to, right? Like built, little areas of energy in your heart that you hold on to. And when there's a cue that happens that makes you relive that or kind of brings that back up, they end up growing. They end up growing again. It gives them, it's like adding, it's like putting oxygen on a flame. Like it just makes it, you know. So yeah, and that's why essentially you can feel the insecurity of a 6-year-old when you're 60, right? Things that may have triggered you when you were 6 years old or when you were a little kid, if you haven't let go of them and you haven't dealt with them, you're still holding on to them, they're still causing blockages inside your heart, you can still feel the same insecurities. So basically what he says is just let go, relax, and release. Honestly, I was like, all right, bro, like whatever. If I'm honest about this chapter, I mean, it's all right. Like it's all right. Honestly, it's a lot easier said than done. I'm gonna take it as the approach of, okay, when these negative feelings do arise, rather than holding on to them, I'm gonna treat it like a muscle that I'm building all the time. So I guess eventually, a few years down the line, I'm gonna be so good at just letting go of things, not harboring onto negative emotions, to let life pass through me, let my energy centers work in full force. You don't want your heart to work at 50, 40, 30% of your capacity. And like I said, when he mentioned that, when it gets fully blocked up and no energy's passing through it, that's why people get depressed, right? You got no energy, you've got no will to do anything. So letting go really, really is important. And yeah, like to me, even actually does make sense, right? Because when you think about it, people that are depressed or are unhappy, they're unhappy for reasons that they've not resolved, that they're holding on to, right? When you let go of it, like it's no longer a fact. If you truly let go of something, it's not going to affect you moving forwards, and you can kind of live life to its fullest again. But if you're holding on to so much stuff, so much baggage, like have you ever tried to run as a kid with a rucksack on your back when you were in school? Like you can do it, but you're not going to be as fast. It's kind of like a burden, right? So I'm kind of imagining that same scenario when it comes to your heart and how efficient, how well it can pump energy through if you're holding on to negative emotions from the past. So yeah, I give this chapter a good 6.5 out of 10. It wasn't like groundbreaking, but every chapter's kind of, I can see he's building a bigger picture. It's connecting the dots. It started off well, like I'll read a good chapter that's like, okay, this shit's revolutionary, and then the next chapter will be a bit mediocre, but he's flowing, man. He's flowing. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how the book progresses, but yeah, man, that's it for today. I actually didn't post a video yesterday. Kind of disappointed in myself, but you know the rule. If you let something slip for one day, then it's a mistake. But if you let it happen 2 days in a row, that's the beginning of a new habit. So I'm staying consistent. As you guys already know, I say this all the time, but yeah, man, that episode is about the heart, letting things go, letting your life, your energy center, which is your heart, just work, just let go. And when these deep feelings, because they're gonna come up, you're gonna remember things or seek things that trigger, negative memories, things that you've been holding on to, and you just gotta make the conscious decisions. Just let go. It's easier said than done. Like you can't just tell someone, yo, just let go. Duh. Like why didn't I think about that? It's kind of one of them ones, But being aware of something like that is the first step to being able to change it. So fair enough. Like I said, I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10 for that chapter. And yeah, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Boom.